Hey, this is Noah, and I am here in my office here at Roar Valley Farms, and I wanted to share something that has been helpful for me as far as managing time and tasks on the farm, and that is time budgeting. So I normally create a list at the beginning of each day based on some of the things I have on my board, different categories and what needs to happen that day, and then I'll number them here and the number of what I'm going to do first all the way till the end, and then I'll just start working on completing them like that. But one of the things that's been most helpful for me is actually sitting down and budgeting a certain amount of time for each activity, an estimated time of completion. And it's been one of the most helpful things that I've done as far as being productive and using the time well throughout the day. God's only given us so many hours in a day, and I want to make a good use of that time. So a few things that, reasons why you should consider budgeting your time during a day, and what I found helpful is it helps me set realistic goals. So if I make a to-do list that has a certain number of tasks on it, and I'm setting aside 8 hours that day to work, and I have 16 hours worth of tasks to do that day, then if I don't realize that's how long it's going to take me to do that task, then I tend to get disappointed when I don't get everything done, when realistically I didn't have enough time that day to do as much as I wanted to get done. If I looked at how much it actually took as far as time to get each thing done. It's really helpful for tracking progress when you do a task. If you look at how much time you budgeted for it, if it takes longer, then you can take time out of another task that might be a little more flexible. You realize you've gone over 15 minutes, or maybe it takes less time, but it helps you know, if you stay within the budgeted time that you have for each task, you should be able to get everything done in the time that you have. But if you go over or below, then you can make adjustments as necessary, and it helps to make the most of the time by saying, oh, I've got 15 minutes to do this, and then I've got to go on to something else. So instead of getting distracted by a bunch of other things, I'm really trying to figure out how to knock that out. Whether it's pulling up tomatoes, there's a couple different types of tasks. One is something that actually has to be completed, like planting a bed. Others are things like that don't necessarily have a finish point for that day. Like we need to make progress on weeding a plot. So I'm going to spend 30 minutes on it, and when 30 minutes is done, I'm going to stop. When I'm planting beds, if I budgeted an hour, it takes an hour and a half, then I need to finish them, and I might need to use that to change how much time I budget next time. You'll begin to be more accurate the more you take note of how long tasks take. And then it also helps to keep the time that I work each day within its limits. So if I'm only going to do 8 hours, right now, this time of year, I'm working 7 to 12 and then 2 to 5. And if I get out late or whatever, I have to bump a little bit later. But for the most part, it helps me during those 8 hours to really get a lot done. Even on the list today, making this YouTube video right here is on the list. I'm trying to only spend 15 minutes on it. It's 3:30. And so I have a few more minutes to work on it before I'm supposed to be done here, and I'll edit it another day and post it. But really helps me to stay focused and not get distracted where I have to take more and more time throughout the day, and it infringes on family time, infringes on stuff around the house that I need to take time for. So as far as how I do it, so here I started with all my different tasks for the day. That I'll show another time how I create all my tasks from my board, but I write down a list of my tasks for the day. This is the category, whether it's farm work or counting records or cleaning, and then I estimate. So picking okra and tomatoes, about 45 minutes maybe. I want to take 30 minutes for writing down the accounting from the market this last weekend, 15 minutes for organizing the pavilion. So I write all those down, then I total them up kind of as I go on my calculator here with just minutes, so it's easy to divide it by 60. And then as I go, I try to keep track of how close I am to the 8 hours that I have budgeted for the day. And at the beginning of the day, I used part of this 30 minutes of planning my day to do this. So actually I had 7.5 hours left. But I did that, and then when I start my first task here, I write my start time, my completion time, and then we'll write down if it's a little different. So like my organizing the pavilion here took 45 minutes instead of 15 minutes, and so that was an extra 30 minutes, and I went down and I said, well, I don't really need to collect leaves today. It doesn't have to have today, so I'm going to bump out that 30 minutes, and so I'm still on track to go to the next task. And if you do that, if you go over or under and you add or take away from some other task that is not as crucial that day, then once you finish your last task, then you put in your 8 hours, and for me, it's made my days so much more efficient than they ever have been before. So, just a useful tool. You know, we want to be good stewards of what God's given us. Budgeting money is great, but budgeting time is also a great thing to do, and we have to hold it lightly, though. We want to be a good steward, but if God tells us, you know, if some opportunity comes up during the day that we need to spend time with somebody or on something else, then we need to be willing to give up our nice little plan for what God has instead. This is just a tool for us to be able to serve God better, but we don't want to make it, let it be our master. It's just a tool, a servant for us to serve God better. But He's ultimately the one that gets to call the shots at the end of the day. So hope this is helpful. Down in the description, you can find a link where you can get one of these worksheets that you could use on your farm, and hopefully that would be helpful. Let me know what you think, and if you can, subscribe to the channel and share it around to anybody that might be blessed by a tool like this on their farm with the work that they have to do. So may God bless you, and we'll talk to you later.